feel like I'm on the right path, but I'm walking it blind. I can't see nothing, but I can feel the signs brushing up like the breath of old ghosts on my cheek. And honey, that feeling makes my soul within me weak. But I'm just trying to find my way home, oh Lord. I'm just trying to find my way, yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to find my way home, oh Lord. Maybe this time they'll let me stay. I feel like I'm at the crossroads on the blackest of nights. Brimstone and dry bones before and behind. Even the stars are afraid. You see them shiver and hide. Silver lips sealed in that dark black sky. But I'm just trying to find my way home, oh Lord. I'm just trying to find my way, yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to find my way home, oh Lord. Maybe this time they'll even let me stay. Yeah, maybe this time they'll even let me stay.
Wow, this time they let me stay. Hey, everybody, if it's a few minutes past 11 o'clock on a Saturday. Finally, we're back. You know, the last couple of weeks, some stuff has happened. I'm really glad that everybody's back today. I'm glad that I am back today because we have a lot to say. In fact, I'm not alone here in the studio because in just a few minutes, Lady Elizabeth Breedlove is going to be joining us. She is definitely a woman who is active in the community, and she makes a lot happen. In fact, she's going to be repping votefromabroad.org. We've got so much to get to over the next 2 hours, so I hope you got your poison, whatever that is. I'm not even going to tell you what's in this, but it's non-alcoholic. It's non-alcoholic. Grab your croissant, grab whatever you need for your poison, because we've got a lot to get to today, because the last 2 weeks I have been incommunicado. Not only did I have a birthday and friends in town and all that stuff, but last weekend I had to cancel everything because my dog got a terrible case of gastroenteritis. And apparently, according to two of my doctors that saw her, there is a little case or cases of this all over people who live by the Ronda. So if you live between Valle de Bron zone and all the way over to Pedralbes near the Ronda, please take it out for your animals, because apparently there's been either a bacterial or viral thing going on out there. So just giving a heads up, but that's where we've been the past couple of weeks. It's been real. I'm a year older. Let's get to shit because we've been waiting for too long. Now, it is also imperative that we talk about things that are happening in our world, because our realm is changing consistently. And we're going to jump into a little bit of news that you can use here in Spain, because we need to, because there's a lot that's been going on since our last roundup together. Obviously, there's a lot that's going on in the world, and that is one of the reasons why we have both of the guests that we have today. This first hour is going to be with Lady Breedlove. As I said, we're going to be repping votefromabroad.org. So for our beautiful people, our smorgasbord of expats and immigrants from the United States of America, we want you to know that these midterm elections that are coming up, and I feel like I've said this many times before, but these midterm elections that are coming up are vitally important. And now I think even people who support certain administrations are starting to see that, certainly in their own pocketbook. Now, obviously, I want you to follow my lovely self at The Club with Lucas. That's with a C, not with a K, everybody, on Instagram. And you can still find us at TwitX at The Club W Lucas. The tunes can be found at 106.9 FM here in the lovely state of Catalonia in Spain and Europe. You can also find them live on rce.cat. And if you want to watch us with your peepholes, catch us at YouTube, RCE 106.9 FM. So much to serve up, so much pitter patter. Let's get at her. This is a little bit of music that we're going to throw your way before we jump into the roundup of news in Spain that I've missed the last 2 weeks with everything going on. Children, if you don't know, it's Pride, and you have a gay homosexual that's speaking to you with his beautiful sultry tones and dulcet voice. And Madonna, the queen of popular music, kicked off Pride in New York City yesterday with a pop-up performance that was not really pop-up, because you can't pop up everything that she did. It's just a pop-up. But this is the new song that she dropped for that as well. This is a well, it's not a pride song. It's a love song is what it is, with a disco beat to make you move your feet. Now remember, if you don't hear the jams, if you're watching us with your peoples on YouTube, catch them live, rce.cat on 106.9 FM. This is Madonna and Love Sensation. We'll be right back in 3.5 minutes here on The Club with Lucas.
When I feel alone, yeah, I always wanna bring you near, 'cause you bring a smile right here. You chase away my darkest hours when we go walking, sunlight's all around.
Oh, well, it is a love sensation and a good vibration. And happy Pride to everybody and to all the allies and to everything. Not to everything, not thank you to everything, but happy Pride to those who celebrate. Certainly, we all need a little bit of good news. Unfortunately, we cannot serve you the best news all the time because there is so much going on. It's 11:16 here in Spain and Barcelona. The biggest story right now in Spanish politics, and if we're going to take it to the reals, which we always do here at the club, it is corruption investigations now surrounding figures connected to the Socialist Party. Obviously, just before the pandemic, the People's Party, or the PP, were voted out in a vote of no confidence just before 2019, when the elections took over when Sanchez won in December of 2019. 3 months later, obviously, we were locked down, and here we are 6.5 years later. Can you believe it's been that long already? Madonna mia. Now, several investigations are involving individuals that have been close to the government. Obviously, I'm speaking of ex-President Zapatero, who has been found with apparently, allegedly, his hand in the cookie jar in benefit of his daughters. And so this is also including an issue of nepotism, which just seems to be rampant in society these days. It's always been as such. But now, obviously, we have a word for it. You can even buy a T-shirt that Hailey Bieber wears. This is Nepo Baby on it. I won't say the F-bomb here. So the issue is that it continues to dominate the headlines. Now, this is going back, obviously, to when we had investigations with people that were like the Coldo case is coming to mind right now. There are also cases of people who were caught not only in there with their hands in the cookie jar, but also private parts in the cookie jar who were sleeping with prostitutes and talking about it very openly. Then the Attorney General of our country was unceremoniously dismissed for emailing the truth about Isabel Ayuso quiero ser tu muso over there in Madrid and what she was doing with her husband or boyfriend, whatever the hell he is. Then, of course, there's the drama with Begoña Gomez, which involves Pedro Sanchez. Then, of course, there's the Zapatero drama, and there's no climbing out of this. If we look at this in a logistic manner, and I am a history tutor, and this is things that I have to deal with every day, and scholastic and work level, this is not good, okay? So, obviously, the party has shot itself in the foot. Sanchez himself has not been charged, but of course, when you're the head of a political party and these things keep happening, obviously, let's look at what happened before with Mariano Rajoy and that piece of junk. The political damage is obviously accumulating, and this latest controversy involves allegations of attempts by party-linked figures. I don't know why they try to just scapegoat around, and it's Zapatero, an ex-president here. And we shall see how this goes. Obviously, Sanchez is strongly denying these accusations, and I just don't see this political government coming out of this anytime soon. Obviously, it is still a year and a half before the next elections. We will see if he holds on. Can he survive? Probably for now. Yeah, maybe. Coalition partners are remaining reluctant to trigger any elections. Of course, the Pepe and the far right parties of Vox are calling for that here in Spain, but he's repeatedly said he intends to remain in office at least throughout this current legislative term, which again would be until December of the elections of 2027. Now, here's the thing though, might be one only saving grace so far, because while many other countries' economies are at least petering, so-so, or in shambles, Spain continues to outperform all major European economies. Spain remains one of the fastest growing large economies in the Eurozone and in the world, for that matter, actually. Employment has reached record levels as of this month. More than 22 million workers of the just around 39 to 40 million are working. Or people, I don't really, that's not the age of people who can work, excuse me, but that 22 million workers. Tourism is expected over the next few months to be exceptionally strong this summer season and possibly pushing Spain into the number one economy zone, which it usually does in the Spanish, either Spain or Italy in the summer months. And the projections continue to put Spain amongst Europe's growth leaders as well as possibly, again, for the fifth row in a row, the strongest growth economy in the world. The summer 2026 outlook means that people have to be focusing on housing, tourism pressure, the cost of living, and the cost of living. Obviously, the political fatigue here is nothing to be scoffed at. And so, as always, we will keep you posted on that here at the Club with Lucas on 106.9 FM. But we have so much to get to because now the good thing is we get to turn our news into something that's going to be giving you clues that you can use. Before we do that with Lady Breedlove, and of course, Miss Elizabeth Breedlove is repping votefromabroad.org. Again, this is for all my beautiful people from North American regions here in Iberia and beyond. If you're not signed up yet, if you don't know some of the critiques and criteria that you need to go through for your particular state, or wherever you live, let's say you live in American Samoa and you're now living in Valencia, or you're from there and you now live in Valencia, votefromabroad.org will set you up, okay? Now, one of the things we always do is ask our beautiful guests to bring in music, and this is something that I am loving to put because this is also one of Madonna's dear friends. This is our boy Sting, and a lovely song called Englishman in New York. And when you come back, my beautiful children, Miss Elizabeth Breedlove will be here to speak about these midterms 2026. This is Lucas, and we'll be right back. Ah, that's one of the beautiful things about Sting is the jazz elements he always brings in as well. But one of the beautiful things about being here is that we have a beautiful community of expat immigrants from the United States of America, and one of them is here. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Breedlove. Here's my one-man salute. Thank you for being here. And not only that, you see the lovely ladies wearing Vote from Abroad. Now, this is also a badass broad because you're very involved in the community.
Yes,
You've got your hands in many pies, love. Thank you for making the time for being here as well.
Really excited. Really
Honestly.
excited. I love your
And
show.
Thank you, love. And thank you for, I don't know if you've been here before, but we've spoken many a times in many a gala and many a place. And thank you for always being supportive. But not only just here, but so many things, as I was saying. How long ago did you move out of the United States?
30-some years?
What?
Yeah.
So as a child, she left the States and said, bye. Well, wait a minute. 37. Okay, so
I
we're
wasn't
talking.
a child, but it's a nice thought.
This is.
So in
we're talking Bush.
Yes,
Bush
1991.
Mm-hmm. So during Bush 1, what was that element that made you want to leave in that time?
Well, I didn't. I had a job that brought me over to the UK, and then I moved into Europe. And once I discovered living in Western Europe, I thought I'd just died and gone to heaven. And then I said, I'm never going back. So I lived in Belgium. Belgium decided I didn't need to live there anymore. And I thank them now because I ended up in Barcelona, and I've been here for 25, 27 years.
So you are definitely then well immersed. No wonder. Hello. I didn't realize.
It's another
longer
story.
than I love. So you've been here a bit longer than I as well. And so you've seen the changes in our beautiful city as well.
Yes.
Okay.
And I continue to adore it.
Amen.
Yes.
Because there are two, and we're not going to do any complaining here and block
No,
the
I
blessings.
love this city.
To say we're not today, Satan. And there's an element then when you see that as someone who's coming from what many say like is the number one world power. It's a superpower. Many people have said to me, "¿Por qué has venido aquí desde New York?" How do you respond to that?
Oh, I say to everybody that living in Spain just aligns with my values. I grew up in Mexico actually, and everything's very community and family oriented, and you just take care of those around you. And we were embraced by the Mexican community we lived in, and I love the fact that you look out for each other. And that's reflected in, healthcare and a lot of other things.
Yes,
but
it is.
You look out for your city, you look out for your neighbor, and there's something that I adore that about living here.
You know what, folks? I have completely forgotten that Lady Breedlove had been raised in Mexico.
Sí,
Me
de
olvidé
niño.
completamente, güey.
Sí, llegué con un acento
Es
mexicano.
que la raza está aquí, güey. And that's the thing. So now you're dealing with some people from Mexican, at least some Mexican roots up in here. Well, let's talk about the realities of our situation today, because obviously when there are thousands and thousands, in fact, I was speaking to our gentleman, shout out to Mr. Anderson, who said that we're looking up upwards of at least 45 to 50,000 just in Spain of U.S. citizens abroad. Now, that could be a higher number, could be as low as 40. But when we're talking about tens of thousands, that's not a joke. It has definitely grown in the past couple of years, few years, certainly. Why is it important that people get involved in these particular midterm elections? I feel like we say this every 2 years. It's the most important.
Well, Americans abroad, that's around the world. We're very much in the millions. And so we make a difference in local elections and federal elections. And if we, I was reading somewhere a great line that says the thing that wins most elections is I didn't vote. And that's not who we want to be. And we have a global perspective. We can see what's possible, right, by living here. And so we have a voice as American citizens, and that voice gives us a vote. And a lot of people don't know that, or don't want to bother, or don't care. And it's so simple now with technology. It's just votefromabroad.org just makes it really simple to vote. And it matters. We can bring our global perspective and what life looks like here to our family and friends over there.
And we want to bring that. That is part of the issue of why I think many people actually do move. It is for a different or better way of life. But also when we can see the two sides, that encapsulates a whole different ball game. If we talk about the ease of vote from abroad, do you find it easy? Because at the very beginning, I think right before we even started the music, I was mentioning, for me, it's a lineup. You click on your state, How do you find that? I'll let you speak.
Well, I'll just give you, I'll take a moment to give you some history. So when I came here in 2000, I was helping people to vote from abroad back before there were smartphones and before there was social media, my phone number was everywhere and people would call me and I'd help them vote. And then we started helping people vote here, and we had these guidebooks that were 2 inches big. We'd take over the pizza factory on Provenza and put up big tables, and people would sit down and say, well, my state is Florida or Massachusetts, and you'd have to go through. It was complicated. You had to really want to do it. So now Vote From Abroad just makes it so simple. I go in, I identify my state, boom, they know all the rules. You fill out a form, you get 1 page. All of a sudden, you're registered to vote.
And for our YouTube listeners, you have it right before your very eyes and what it looks like as well. Every state, familia, and this is one thing that's very important, every state is going to have its own jurisdiction and policies and how you have to get this done. I know for a fact, as someone who's coming from there, that one of the more difficult states to get everything in order is New York. Voting from New York is not a joke. So for my New Yorkers, get started on it now. We have just under 6 months to have everything ready. When is too late?
Well,
for some of us who are abroad.
We really want to vote in the federal elections. It was really important to vote in primaries. I don't think people understand how important primaries are. That has a lot to say about who's showing up in November. But we really want to be registered by September to be able to make a difference in the elections in November. And I just want to say that some people may not realize that, like, how come I get to vote if I've been living in France for 20 years, or my kid was born in Belgium, never lived in the States? You get to vote because of what they call the Uniformed and Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Law. Anyways, 40 years ago, they said we get to vote as citizens. And you vote technically in the last state you lived. So I happened to live in Chicago for only 3 years before I moved to Europe. So I vote in Illinois. And so I get to, in some states, let you vote in local elections.
That's right.
In some states, you just vote in the federal elections. But I can tell you that there's some elections that have been extremely close. So what about 10,000, 15,000, 25,000 votes in Georgia and Illinois and Florida that come from abroad? They make a difference.
They certainly do. And, apparently there are, and here's Lucas again with the annoying facts, but last count that we were informed here, there is over 16 million Americans that live abroad. If 16 million Americans, do you see what I'm saying? Yep. And unfortunately, or however you choose to look at it, 10% of them voted in the last election. In fact, it was about 9-point-something% that voted in the last election. And that is very telling, because that's also indicative of the nearly 91 million people that did not go vote in the last election that were able to. What are your thoughts? And now for something completely different. I'm kidding. But what are your thoughts on places that put impositions and fines like Australia, where you have to vote, C wherever you are? What do you think about that?
Well, I lived in Belgium, and it's obligatory in Belgium.
As well.
And if you don't vote, it shows up on your tax return. There's a little penalty. So,
oh wow!
I think U.S. citizens might have a bit of a challenge with that.
What is some of those?
I do think it's a right, and we should exercise it.
Amen. And and certainly it's a right there and here. And when you don't, there are certainly thousands and thousands of people that have died for you to have that right. And I think that is important to remember. What are some common, we're going to jump into a song in a moment, but what are some common misconceptions that Americans abroad have about their voting rights? Like, even their elder children could vote, even if they were born from abroad, for example.
Exactly. In the last place their parents lived. And I think people think, I don't have a mailing address in the States. Not necessary. Or you vote where your last address was. Well, my grandma's house is now a parking lot. But you don't still, that your house doesn't have to be there. You still have the right to vote. And so it's not complicated. Last place you lived, where do you live now? Our friend Rob says, democracy matters, use it or lose it.
Exactly. In fact, I feel, and Rob is right, I feel like it matters more now than ever. Because in it, again, not just in the country from which we hail, but in all countries. Let's talk, in all countries that at least you can apply that democracy. We're going to jump into a quick song and be right back, because we've got so much more information. I've got a few more questions to throw at you, love. But also, because everything that was old is new again. Oh my God, it's like the Bible. CeCe Peniston, if everybody remembers, finally it has happened to me. Remember that girl? Okay. Well, she just put out a new song with this little funk group called Favorite Child out of NYC. And this is called Purple Funk. It is an ode to Prince. It has now been 10 years since our man Prince passed away. You see the purple background behind me. Well, this is an ode to Prince. It is a 2.5-minute song, and then we're going to be right back with Lady Breedlove. Remember, folks, you can hear the jams live all over Catalonia on 106.9 FM and rce.cat, and we'll be right back. Okay, yeah, I just had it. The shoulder had to move. The shoulder had to move. That was CeCe Peniston and Favorite. Let's get to our songs. Our songs. Oh my God, let's get to our questions. Because when you are coming to the deadline, obviously you said we have September is one of the deadlines. Does every state have a different one though? Doesn't every state have a? And some of them, excuse me, really quickly, if you have it postmarked by a certain time, it can still come in weeks later and be counted.
Well, it's interesting that you would bring that up, because when you think about why does my vote even matter, something like changing those deadlines matters. Because states have an obligation to get us a ballot, which they now email, thankfully, within 45 days of the election.
Wow.
And so we have 45 days to turn it around and get it back there.
Okay.
And so most states allow us to come in after the election as long as it's postmarked. One thing that's really important to know is that as Americans abroad, we have an obligation to register to vote the year of the election. And so people think, oh, yeah, I got a ballot 4 years ago. That'll be fine. No, actually, we need to go in to votefromabroad.org and register, which is requesting your ballot, during 2026. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to do that. Go do that today. Tell your friends to do it. Tell your family to do it. Anybody abroad, go to votefromabroad.org immediately, and then you'll ensure that you get your ballot on time in September.
That was a perfect Instagram clip. Thank you for that. That well said. In fact, little Lukey here has not done it since the holidays of 24, so it is time to redo it.
It is.
Because I vote in New York. Yay! In Suffolk County, out in the end of Long Island. And they need that. Because for the first time in a long time, certain things have been changing, and those votes are very different depending on where you vote. So then I want to get back to our younger kids, because we have a slew of them here, and many of them come here for certain scholars and Fulbrights and whatnot. For those younger Americans who may be studying, working, traveling, doing all this stuff, because, you know, they love to come party hardy, what message would you share for them, specifically the value and importance of voting for our younger gens?
Well, it's the youth vote. Like, if we want a new country, we might want to get the youth involved.
Yeah.
And there's something about being a citizen and engaged. And why not start here and do it from Spain? How cool would that be? I'm abroad, I'm doing this great program, and I'm hanging out in Barcelona, and I'm now 18. So now I get to vote. Like the first time I voted, I was in Barcelona and I was 18 and I did it from abroad. And so in September, lots of people are going to the student abroad programs, making sure. But yeah, how cool is that? I'm now 18. I'm a citizen. I'm going to vote. I'm going to do it from Barcelona or from Milan or from Berlin or wherever I am. So vote from abroad. Just, it makes it so easy.
Where was the first place you voted from abroad?
The first place I voted from abroad was in Belgium, in Antwerp, beautiful city.
It is a beautiful city. The Belgium. I don't know how you say something. Were you consistently munching on the chocolate? I have to go to that.
Well, I'll tell you, they have the best food. I got here and they said, "Oh, you got to Catalonia, great food." And I went, "Yeah, but I've lived in Belgium."
I love it. All right. Now, okay, I have so many questions. And sorry for plying you with so many of them. Let's see how many we can get through, loves. Now, why is it important for elected officials to hear from our voices? Again, my loves, we are 16 million just from the U.S. alone, okay? So why is it important for our elected officials to hear from our voices as citizens living outside of the U.S. and still caring for it?
Well, you might think that what happens in the U.S. stays in the U.S., but I don't think anybody would agree with that anymore.
I hope not, because Lord knows.
So we have a global economy, we have a planet, we have global climate change, and there's this little matter of going to war. Yeah. So what happens in the U.S. affects a lot of the world, and we live out in that world. And so our perspective, it can be unique and important. And people may think, oh, you know, universal health care is a dream, is a pipe dream. It's not possible. Well, it's important for those of us that have the benefits of health care in many, many countries abroad to let Americans understand that that's possible.
Very much so.
It's a perspective that counts.
Very much so. You know, that it's being said that within this next year or two before the next elections, we will be crossing 50 million people here in Spain. And 50 million people here in Spain plus certain resident aliens who are impatrinated here and registered here have complete access to health care. It is something that, for me, even the first 2 visits for my dog were free this past week for insurance that I have.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
And her other vet, shout out Horta Vet, please give her discounts. There is an element when you don't have that type of, and that is something that every one of our people have. Right now in the country from which we hail, there is a case it's going to go soon. It's already in court with a man named Luigi Mangione. And it has been very, very difficult for them to find people to sit down for that because healthcare is such a thing. We were talking earlier about housing and things. Do you think our votes from abroad affect our leaders in some aspect?
So I can tell you with certainty that there are elections that we have impacted, that Americans abroad have made an impact on a particular election, and we will continue to do so. And we are only at 10%. What if we just doubled that? What is another 10% of 16 million people matter in a local, state, or a federal election, or somebody who goes to Congress, or, you know,
It's everything.
it has a big
everything.
impact. So
Yeah.
people that say, why bother? We really, really do want you to do it. And when it's so simple, go to votefromabroad.org. You just go in, you see the state knows everything you need to do. Boom, some of it just goes off electronically. Tell you, coming from where we used to do it to where we are
Exactly.
today, technology is our friend.
You can testify. The first time I voted here was for Obama, and it was not easy. In fact, I just remember I think I had to go to the consulado to do a lot of stuff. This was obviously 14 years ago or something. We are thin, young, and gorgeous, but also I want to say when you leave from voting, there is an element of, wow, you feel invigorated. There is something like, because you know that you've done a good duty, a good justice for yourself as well. And there's an element of, it feels like the cure. It feels like heaven. In fact, I'm going to throw a quick song because I want to come back with specific information for everybody to know and a couple of wrap-up questions as well. But this is a track I heard last weekend in the middle of shifting a baby everywhere to vets. And it's a gentleman actually named More from North America, and his backup singer named Celeste. And it's just a beautiful song. It's 3 minutes long. It's called Just Like Heaven. Just like you'll feel when you vote. And remember, votefromabroad.org. This is Just Like Heaven, and we'll be right back on The Club with Lucas at 106.9 FM. Ah, lovely. I just love the melodics. Now, can we talk about these supposedly 16 million people? Who are these people? Because there's so many different. I mean, we're a veritable cornucopia of people. Who are they?
Right. You think maybe it's just the people you met at the party last Saturday
Okay.
night. No, there's a
Hell
few
no.
more. Think about all of the diplomats around the world. They're abroad. Think about the military. They're abroad. They vote from abroad. That's a few people, right?
Diplomats and military. That's
Think
right.
about all the students, all the families. Think about the digital nomads. Hello, Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
We want you here. You can live anywhere. All you need to identify is the last place you lived in the U.S., and you can vote from abroad. So I can be in Bali for 3 months, and I can be in Barcelona for 6 months, and there's a lot of digital nomads, and I bet we'll see more and more of them. They need to vote. Their vote matters.
That's right. And it's important too, because a lot of those digital nomads are men, and women are the more prolific voters. I think it's nearly 53% of voters are women. And also here in Spain, over 52% of voters are women. So boys, we need to speed up the plow, because in fact, in case you didn't know, the world population is still 50.5% male and only 49.5% female. Now that has certain regions that dictate why, but here in Europe and the Americas, oh hell no, it's women, but boys need to speed the plow. If there's anything else, there's one question I wanted to get through, but I'm on the wrong page, Lynn. If there's anything else that we would love to, impart on our community here of U.S. American immigrant expats, what would that be?
I think just do it, to rob that from Nike, right? I mean, it's easy. It's not complicated. You just go to votefromabroad.org, you send it off, and you're registered to vote, and then you vote. And you don't have to vote for everything on the ballot. Just vote for the people you care about.
Right.
But it's your voice. Like, why would you not use your right? Why wouldn't you not use your voice? I mean, do we want government by representation? Is that still a thing?
Except in
think
Washington, D.C. No, that's taxation.
true.
Oh, but whatever.
We're all woke
But
on there.
it's also, as if I could add, if you would permit me to add, it's responsible citizenship.
Right,
That's what it looks like.
right.
And that is why I said, 10, 15 minutes ago, the feeling you do. And I've twice in the last few years, I've gone to the Correos aquí en Gracia to do it here in Gracia. And the same woman, she remembered me from the midterms to the... And she was so proud that I was still coming to do that. And I was like, you know what? I think she was originally Argentina también.
Lucas, there are countries where you don't get to vote from abroad. Once you're gone, you're gone. Like, hey, you're not here
Bye.
anymore.
Exactly.
No, we as U.S. citizens, we have the right forever to vote as long as we hold a U.S. passport.
That's right.
And why wouldn't we? Like, why would we want to be one of the millions of I didn't vote? Like, really? That's your legacy? No.
And very tacitly, she's not saying, but I'm saying to Gen Z, what's walking to you? Because that youth vote is really important. And on that 18 to 29-year-old, I know 29 is more millennial, but whatever. Lady Breedlove, I want to thank you so much for being here. We're going to
was a
have you
pleasure.
for other reasons in the future as well. And folks, throughout from now until the election, certainly until September, we're going to be serving up a lot of goodness for VFA.org. Remember, I want to remind all of our U.S. American expat immigrants, you can go to votefromabroad.org and get all of that. Click on your state. It is lined up. Press play. It's not a song, but I'm obsessed with music.
Do it
And
today.
you do it. Do it today. And I'm going to do it today. I'm
And
going to
tell
go
your
home.
friends. Go on social media. Say, hey, did you register this year?
That's right.
Get 5 votes.
Okay,
Get 10
so
votes.
my mates, you can expect some text coming your way. Thank you so much, Lady Breedlove, for being here. We're going to
pleasure.
leave off with a song that you queued up for us. This is actually a live version of Alicia Keys' Empire State of Mind, and I love it, love it, love it, because you already know. Shout out New York City. Shout out to everybody. Power to the people. We'll be right back in a few moments. This is Alicia Keys. Bye.